Hey everyone, so here is your high school taper report. Again, I'm pulled from Louisville ISD. This is Flower Mound High School. And so in the high school, you see a lot of changes, a lot of differences between the elementary and the middle school reports and this one. So as I mentioned in the middle school report, we start seeing end of course exams rather than those yearly exams because students are taking these courses at different times throughout their high school program. So a student may take English 1 in 9th grade, but may take it in 10th grade or take English 2 in 11th grade. And so it just kind of depends. We also see that Algebra 1, we saw some 8th graders take that test already. And so these courses are determined on when they take it at what grade level rather than having a test at that grade level. So in order to pass high school, you have to complete these EOCs. And so again, you'll interpret these information the same way that you would have interpreted if it was 3rd grade reading or 5th grade math. Okay, so as we scroll, again, sorry for the scrolling, we have to get down to some of this other performance data that high schools are required to report. And so now we start seeing some dropout rates. And so again, we can determine what the dropout rate is based on race and also special populations. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting too. So we see graduation rates also reported. So 4-year longitudinal rates means that the class of 17, as they entered 9th grade, they then graduated as expected. So they graduated in 4 years. So they entered 9th grade at that Texas school and they graduated 4 years later at that Texas school. So for this particular campus, we see 99% of those students graduated in that 4-year timeline as expected. We do see that some, though, received a GED, some continued in high school, some dropped out. And so that's what this thing here is, the GED. So 1.1% of the students had received their GED. And then we only have a small dropout rate. What happens then is they also wanted to start to track, well, how many students then just continued and then graduated the next year. That's what that 5-year and the 6-year rate is. So if we had a smaller percentage of students who graduated in 4 years, then we might start seeing incrementally higher results 5 and 6. So this 5-year tells us that it took those students 5 years to finish high school instead of 4, or 6 years to finish high school rather than 4. And so that's what we're seeing with these continuing things here. As we continue to go down, they're also going to break down what type of high school graduation plan they were on. If they were on the recommended high school plan or the distinguished achievement plan, which all of those plans versus the foundational high school plan is how many credits you're taking in English, science, math, electives. And so typically the English requirement is the same across all of the recommended or the high school programs. The differences you're going to see are like maths and sciences and languages between these high school plans. And so this can tell us about how many students, I mean, again, that's a really high percentage of students who are on those recommended high school plan or the distinguished achievement plan. So those are really high numbers. And then we get down to, it breaks it down by graduates by race, which again is kind of interesting to look at. But now we've got this whole reporting system on college, career, and military readiness. So now schools are required to report the percentages of students who are college, career, and military ready. And what do they base that on is usually the question. Well, here's kind of what they base it on. Are they TSI criteria graduates? Did they complete dual credit? Did they take AP or IB exams? Did they complete an associate's while they were in high school? And then there's some other things as well for college ready. Career or military ready. Did they get an industry-based certification like welding or nursing, or I'm trying to think of other things, photography maybe, but that's usually related to career and vocational tech. Or have they completed their IEP with work for readiness? So those are kids in special education. Did we have students who enlisted in the armed forces? And so now we're reporting out these numbers as well. And why, I'm not sure, but this is the criteria that they're basing those numbers on. Okay, now we come down to, if you really want to look at those AP or IB results, you can look at how many students took the AP exam and how many passed the AP exam. And again, if you've taken the AP exam, then you could possibly earn college credit for that. We also are going to break down SAT and ACT scores. So it'll tell you the percentage of students who tested an SAT or ACT scores or participate in those tests, and then it gives you the average score. And so it's useful to compare it across the state. So in this particular case, it was higher than the state average for SAT scores, and same for ACT scores here as well. Okay, then we see dual credit. So we see that, again, a high percentage of students are doing dual credit course completion, which means that they'll end up with college credit when they graduate high school. And then it's going to give us those demographic information again, just like we saw in the elementary and the middle school reports.